Brightness isn't about adding more lights, it's about shaping shadows. It was important to expose the tip of the hat to 100 IRE. In Rec 709 LUT, 100 IRE is pure white. After that, you clip, meaning there's no more information in the data that you're recording and it's just flat white. And so that means that you cannot make anything brighter than 100% IRE. The only thing you can do is by creating a bigger contrast between 100% IRE and the rest of your scene and bring the shadows all the way down as much as you can, creating a big separation between how dark under the table is and the brightness of the hat. Then it makes the hat look even brighter than it actually is. So next time you're looking to make something stand out, don't just think about adding more lights. Think about how you can take away lights